Welcome everyone, this is Pons Mules and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
And Cinders.
Hello.
Hello everyone and welcome to our first show of the new year.
Yay. Insert firework noises here.
Insert firework noises here, yes. And we will begin with some actual game news. And that is that Borer Update 23.2 Preview number 5 has been posted. Well, I suppose that, and that it will be available over the weekend. If you're listening to this live, you would have a chance to take advantage of that. And in here, we have more raid tweaks, fixes, and balance, of course, because that's the highlight of 23.2. But there are a few other things. The first one is that class traits will be capped at 92 points for now, and that points over the cap will be allowed to be earned, but you won't be able to spend them. Of course, since there are only 91 class trait points earnable, it's not going to have any significant impact at the moment.
I'm wondering what this is for.
I haven't the slightest idea, unless it's for when they next up the cap and they'll be going past it. And they're trying to prevent something nasty happening if someone has more than 92 points or something. I don't know, but
it just seems like a really strange thing to limit.
I suspect it's going to allow people to go a lot deeper into multiple trait trees than they had originally anticipated, I guess is the reason for this. At least that's the only thing I can think of. And also concerning class traits, specialization capstone traits in the 7th and highest tier of the specialization tree now require that you be in that specialization and at least level 45 in order to spend points to gain those particular traits.
Yeah, so this is news for me because A, I didn't realize that you could even get the capstone if you weren't in that spec, and B, I didn't think you had enough points to get to the capstone even if you were in the spec, unless you were like level 50 something.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a surprise to us on that matter, but apparently
obviously, we're not the ones trying to break the game.
We're not the ones trying to break the game.
That's what you can take away from that. We're not the people who you can blame for why we don't have nice things.
Because when someone does something really crazy, it's like, huh? You can do that?
I didn't even know you could do that. Okay. Not all that bothered by the fact that you can't, because I wasn't doing it in the first place.
Yes.
But apparently there are whiners, because at least one, like the second comment down is whining about that specific thing.
That's what, you mean that you can't?
Yeah.
Is that you can't have that 7th tier on it unless or were they complaining about level 45?
No, well, I mean,
they're complaining about the alteration to lore master buffs. But I'm not sure if they were just confused, or
apparently you
if
can
they're looking at mixing the lines
or something, and then trait mostly in. I don't know why you would trait mostly in blue if you're spec'd in yellow, but apparently that was a thing in Lore Master.
Because
I have no idea.
Some people love. That means someone wanted to bring out the menagerie, for example, while being in Yellow Line, perhaps, because they wanted the default traits from Yellow Line, but to have the menagerie.
Yeah, but you have to sacrifice so much yellow stuff in order to even get that capstone. I don't even know why you would bother.
Yeah, because
we're not the ones trying to break the game.
And say my thought and what I had built for my lore master, I have the dominant trait on each one. So I would do blue through the capstone to get the Sikkim, and then trait into the other trees with the remainder.
That's what most people do.
And so I'm not sure I'm not sure what this person was doing so differently to get that difference.
Oh, apparently that person really loved the high-end traits on blue, but loved the automatic ones you get just for specializing in that, and they were willing to sacrifice half their trait points in order to do that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the other part that they have attached to that is the legendary brown wizard trait now grants a large general buff to summoned pets rather than just the +3 level mod that stacks with all other pet buffs, and I honestly have no idea what that trait is.
Okay, this is that if you have this trait, I'm pretty sure it's a blue line trait because I can't imagine it being anywhere else. And that means your pet will be 3 levels higher than you are.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's what that is.
Yeah, and it's a bit game breaking when you consider that when you're at level cap, you have this pet that's now at level cap plus 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was wondering because of the way it was phrased with legendary brown wizard trait. I'm like, is that on a legendary item and I missed it?
No, it's not a legendary item thing. I'm pretty sure it's a...
I was gonna say, but when the way you explained it made sense. That is the way that the blue line works. When you get to that level.
I think it's just another way of saying the capstone trait, because I'm pretty sure that those were originally referred to as legendary traits.
Okay.
Back before trait trees were a thing.
And before my time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because back when the game was first around, the level 45 traits that you earned were known as the legendary ones because you had these quests that you had to do whenever you got your page drops. They were referred to as the legendary traits.
So now, go ahead.
And I think that the one from the level 45 quest might have also been a legendary one. I can't remember for sure on that one.
Well, that explains why they would say that at least level 45 in order to spend the points to gain those particular traits. Oh, I was going to say something else, but yeah. But that makes me wonder what that large general buff to summon pets is. Is it a morale buff? Is it an armor buff? What is it? So that makes me curious.
It doesn't say, but it does say that it stacks with all the other pet buffs, so I don't know why people are complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
just for the sake of complaining, I think.
True, because it sort of makes things a little broken when you're at those levels where there's a sudden jump or something like that. So yeah, we'll have to see how much, if it's a real nerf or if it's something that's, well, okay, it's going to be a nerf from the point of view that it won't be broken any longer. Now, I do play a lore master on occasion, and I play blue lines. Therefore, I do use this trait.
Yeah. Well, and when I'm in blue line, I'm mostly in blue line specifically because I do have the menagerie. It doesn't necessarily... I don't think about the fact that my pet is 3 levels over. In fact, I rarely notice it on changing to any of the other lines.
Yeah. So, I'm not as worried about it as some people are, but we shall see what happens. Let's then head on to the next one, unless you have anything else to say about Lore Masters.
I'm good. They're awesome.
Then, yes. Then in skirmishes, the weekly raid quests are once again completable. Now, if I remember correctly, this is to handle the situation where apparently for the last about 6 months to a year or something like this, that skirmish raids have not been awarding seals. And apparently everybody's been thinking that was intentional, maybe it was intentional, and they decided to put it back in, or it was a bug they decided to put in. As far as I know, the Standing Stone stance is that it was a bug. People are saying, no, it wasn't. It's like, if they're going to call it a bug and fix it, then don't complain!
You complain when you get stuff, you complain when you don't get stuff, you can't make anybody happy.
But anyway, so I presume that this is all about getting those seals, which would be nice for my weekly skirmish raid group.
What are the seals, and how can you use them? Are they just... They're different than marks and medallions, obviously.
Yeah, there's a third tier of items in that currency. So you have your marks, you have your medallions. Seals, you get 6 seals when you complete a skirmish raid, and I think there are some other instances that also award seals. I don't remember them off the top of my head since most of my seals, I believe, came from skirmish raids.
Okay.
And you get them from completing a skirmish raid at cap.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be a cap.
So that would explain why I would not have ever seen them.
Well, I don't know I can't remember how long you've been playing.
A little over a year. I think we're coming up. Yeah, I think we're about a year and a half. So.
Okay, but I don't think you've been at cap for quite as long.
Definitely not.
Yes. Then we added a resize handle to the NPC interaction panel. And added a vertical resize handle to the quest log. And I think I'm trying to think, there was a panel I was working with today which I was wishing I had a resize handle on that. I can't remember whether it was one of those two or if it was a different one of those. Moria, the quest chain known as the Secret of the Council, has returned to Moria. Find the map somewhere within Moria's depths to begin. The Secret of the Council has returned to Moria? Has anyone ever heard of this quest?
No.
Because they're saying it's returned.
Presumably this has to do with when they're going to release Moria on the Legendary servers.
Oh, of course. This is probably something that was
in the game and then was taken out, and they're going to put it back in so that people can do it on the Legendary servers.
Yeah, okay, that actually...
But because occasionally we do get nice things, they're also going to let us have it on live.
Yeah, because I don't think there's a way in which to have it on one but not on the other, I think, is sort of
right.
Situation that we have on there.
Well, as somebody who's not playing on the Legendary server,
this is a small fellowship quest in the Foundation, starting in... Alright, starts at Zelmalek and ends in the Foundations of Stone, apparently. Okay, well, we'll see how that goes around. And on the next side, we have NPCs in the 3 Pharaoh Crafting Hall in Breetown Vault no longer fall through their chair.
Good to know.
I did not notice anyone falling through their chairs in either of those two places.
Me neither, and I've been there recently.
Yes. And placement issues with water volume in the Withered Heath resolved. Alright, I didn't notice the water volume in the Withered Heath. Brush cleared from the barrel of Tarandan's entrance. Oh boy, yes, because I was recording an episode, I think it was yesterday, of my Complete Pine Leaf series, and I think I was joking about the brush in front of the barrow Tarandan.
It just cracks me up that, like, every build, they're doing more brush trimming.
Yes.
Well, the gardeners got a little out of hand.
Yeah, and now they're told to scale back a little bit. And the stair placement in Fickle Gundu's library adjusted to allow for normal passage.
Oh, that's good.
What are they talking about there?
The stairs in the library, you have to go around like 4 or 5. It's a really weird way to get there.
Okay, because because some ways are blocked off as a result of their presence there.
Right.
Okay.
And then getting back out, it's like, where's the stairs?
Well, I had no trouble finding them getting back out, but
I got lost.
All right, probably because I've done the resource instance enough times that. No, could be that maybe that was mainly a problem in some other version of it. Undiscovered Stable Master vendor icons are no longer called by dynamic particles rendering settings.
Does that mean they'll be blue again?
That's what they mean.
Yay!
And of course, we have Bjornings. Most Bjorning melee skills now have hit SFX, and Grimbjorn Spirit's buff will stop working until log respec. If the caster ever used it on themselves, this buff was overriding the effect that was granted it, which is why that was happening, but this has been fixed. They should have written that differently, fixed the bug that was causing that, because it was originally worded as if it were a known issue, but then they put at the end, this has been fixed. And that's the list of updates. Anything you want to add to this? Then let's head into the beacon, where we have LOTRO Beacon issue 92, where we have some musicians playing for some sort of winter concert. I don't think that weather's going to do anything nice to the musical instruments, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would think it would be a little cold to play out in that weather.
It reminds me of the attempt at a concert at Obama's first inauguration, where it was like frigidly cold that day, and they had a full string ensemble playing as best you could, but those instruments were not liking that weather.
Let's say, as somebody who has played in a parade in, snow and freezing weather, definitely the people wearing gloves in those that's the intelligent choice. Because if not, so this is what happened. Sans and I, when we were in high school, we both marched in the same parade. And she wore gloves and I did not. Not wearing gloves in metal instruments equals a very, very, very painful time as soon as you get out of the wind. I cried and cried and cried and begged for my mother. My hands hurt so bad after being done with that. And I mean, I think we were maybe out for 30 minutes and it was miserable. That flute player right there, that hobbit, she'll regret that.
Well, I would presume that she has a wooden flute there.
Yeah, she'll still regret it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the sounds of her flute are going to regret it too. Because
it's possible, but you're still blowing that warm air through continuously, and that makes a little bit of a difference. Whereas your fingers, once it seeps into your joints and you get to the point where you literally can't bend them and you can't feel them, that's an issue.
Yeah, I don't think I ever attempted to play an instrument outdoors in winter weather.
Yeah, I don't recommend it.
You don't recommend it? Yeah. In our community spotlights, the Northern Pride Band held a New Year music concert on the Evernight server, and of course, there is a link to watch that, and you could also watch a warm Yule Green from the Hobbit role players on Laurelin for their 2018 Yule video. And you can join the Brandy Badgers who will go wassailing in the Shire in Laurelin on Monday, January 7th at 2:30 p.m. US Eastern Time, in other words, server time, which will be 7:30 p.m. UK time. So you can see details for the event there. Though, of course, if you're not listening to this live, and you're listening to the podcast version, you only have a few hours between the time we post this on the podcast and the time in which that event is being held. So keep that in mind. And Cosmetic LOTRO has a new winter outfit the Ranger of the North, and you could go and see how that.
Oh, but there was a new one posted yesterday.
Of course there is. The favorite there is to post something new right after the beacon comes out, right?
The new one is a Bjorning outfit called Cream and Honey, which is really cool.
Yeah, I could see why that's called Cream and Honey. That looks quite appropriate there. And
I just had to put that in because I get those updates like whenever they happen.
Yeah, whenever they happen, you see them. Yep. I'm surprised you brought it up, considering that's a Bjorning one.
Well, it was cool. And I have a Bjorning highlight this week, actually.
Oh, okay. Then, Glumglug has created a character planner to help reach your LOTRO goals in 2019, and we'll be discussing more about LOTRO goals later. And for our Kin Haul this week, Vicarious Universe is a Gladden-based kin looking to grow with new members, whether you are a veteran player or someone new to LOTRO. It's a family-friendly kin nearing 12 years of active membership, or a history of diversity and dedication, as a kinship has been a wholehearted endeavor. We are looking to add to this legacy with folks who enjoy meeting new people and group activities, both large and small. Part of an alliance of Gladden-based kins, with a website on Discord server available for members. Please contact Cheerable and Calathread in-game with inquiries. So that is Vicarious Universe on Gladden. Our weekly comment this week is about our goals for the new year, and we will talk about more about that later in this episode. So we're not going to answer that right now. So let's head into our fan site news. And of course, we have links to all these things as, of course, Bloodborne's first stream of 2019, Druid of the Rings with a Druid's Fire, Easy Lost with McVegan Pants, The Road Goes Ever On with the Gravity, and LOTRO, the Balville edition, and finally Be Bold, Be Wary with Apulu Felgar. And for our screenshot of the week, it looks like the horse has antlers.
It's an elk.
It's an elk? Okay.
Are you sure that's an elk?
Okay.
It might be a Warsteed. It could be a Warsteed.
It has a mane.
it could very well be a suicide horse.
Yeah, and it looked like that there was a little bit of a halt.
I wasn't actually paying close attention to the horse in this one because I was looking at it and I'm like, I know where that is.
Is that in Aaron Mithrin?
Yeah, it is. It's in the Grey Mountains. It's on the road leading up to Scarhold.
Okay.
It was one of the first places that I ever saw of the Grey Mountains back in Borer on Beta.
And this was taken by Yildun of Landreval, who sent in this week's screenshot of the week. And that is nighttime in the Grey Mountains with the... whether that moon is rising or setting, I can't tell due to the way moons work in LOTRO. Actually, yeah.
It's a great shot.
Oh, yes. Very good shot on there. Nice work, and let's head into our store sales for the week.
25% off now through January 10th. Select Warsteeds, riding skills, select mounts, and movement speed buffs. Just a note though, because the beacon says 25% and the launcher says 30%. But the loading screen in the launcher says 25%. So
I believe it's 25%.
Yeah, I haven't actually gone to check prices, but I'm pretty sure that the beacon is the one with the correct percentage. So it's 25%, but some confusing information is out there.
Double check it before you buy.
Yeah, the weekly coupon gets you a plus 100% mark acquisition 90 minutes with coupon marks now through January 10th, in case you don't get enough of those dropping out of Hobbit presents.
And LOTRO Players News this week is brought to you by the Rift Balrog Nanny Service.
She's doing a terrible job. Don't hire
her. Let's head into the LOTRO Players goals for 2019. And Terry, what are your goals for this coming year?
Oh, yeah, I get to start. Okay, so first goal, obviously, play through whatever updates come out in 2019 on Terry to keep up to date with the story, because I'm super caught up with the story, and I want to keep it that way. Especially because story for Mordor onwards has been extremely awesome. I mean, not that it wasn't before you get to Mordor, but I'm like so invested in the story at this point.
Yeah.
I would like to take at least one more character through Mordor, because I haven't since Terry taken anybody else even up to Mordor. So I would like to take a character up to and then through Mordor. I'm gonna hopefully get Sarissa through Western Rohan. So she's been in Eastern Rohan. And like to, by the end of the year, be through Western Rohan, which, considering I haven't played the character in a couple of years, is a pretty good goal. And I would like to take Axley and friends through Mirkwood. This is the group that we play on our weeks after we're not playing through new stuff.
I'm leveling a mini to join you guys. She might not make it this week, but she's coming.
Yeah. And so Sans isn't here, but apparently Cinders got permission to do goals for Sans. So let's hear the Sanswinda goals.
Sanswinda goals are as follows. Arya, 2 additional characters on every server. Name each one Sister or Cinder rules. Play LOTRO continuously for 24 hours at least one time a month. And craft complete sets of armor at all levels for all classes and characters for all of her friends. I'm kind of banking on her not reading these.
Let us know how that goes.
I will do that. If you never hear from me again, you'll know why. For my goals this year,
more reasonable?
Yes. Hey, I made them myself. She should never trust me with these things, and I don't know why she did. But I would like to level at least one character into each level range for group questing. Right now I have some pretty big gaps, like between 60 and 100, or 20 and 50. And so I'd like to have at least one character in each of those 10-level groups, so that when group things come available, I can do that. Probably not on every server, because I don't do stuff on every server.
Just Landrival, then?
Probably Landrival, possibly on Gladden, but we'll see. I have to take a break from that, and then probably just Landrival, yeah.
Okay.
So I think I play on Landrival, Gladden, and Kirkhollow sometimes. Have and maintain at least 2 level cap tier 1 raid-ready alts on Landrival. And then obtain Skirmisher Middle Earth on at least 1 alt. It's probably going to be Pine Sniff on Kirkhollow, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Pine Leaf, what are your goals?
My first goal is to get halfway through Skirmisher Middle Earth on my Honor Warden. And the reason why I'm not planning on getting all the way through it is because I'm not 100% sure that Storm of Methodris will be available on that server. It'll be rather difficult to get Skirmisher Middle Earth if Storm of Methodris isn't released then. If all the skirmishes are available earlier enough, I might be able to just make it all the way through. But for now, I'm just committing to get halfway done. Next one is going to be a bit of a risky one. That is to gain world renown on my Honor Warden. And Terry Adwin then made a point that it could be too easy in some circumstances. So therefore, I'm adding to it that I'm not allowed to purchase rep click. Now I'm allowed to use rep clickies that obviously to drop while I am questing and the like, but I'm not allowed to purchase rep clickies at the skirmish camp in order to do it, since obviously I'll be getting many marks trying to get Skirmisher of Middle Earth, or at least halfway there. And then on my main warden on Crick Hollow, to complete any regions that are released prior to Thanksgiving. That means that if for some reason they post major new content the day before they go on Christmas break, I know that is highly unlikely, then I'm not going to be saying, well, you didn't quite finish the questing. So therefore I'm saying, if they released it before Thanksgiving, then I'm committing to having gone through that content by then. And I think that's everybody.
Yes, since Arindis is not with us this week, we'll have to get hers out of her at some point.
Yeah, and maybe since if she learns about things, may give her real list.
We could make up ones for Arindis too, guys. We could.
That's okay, because I like being here.
Let's head into the site news then. Let's begin with something Squirrel, a clucky winter wonderland where apparently Squirrel has gotten into some sort of mirror universe.
Yeah, this was a pretty strange one even for critters.
That's saying a lot.
It's saying a lot, but there you go. It's pretty weird even for critters.
Now, I'm trying to say, is this Photoshop, or is there some sort of thing that you can buy to make you look like a Nazgul?
I think that's actually one of the Halloween costumes.
Oh, of course, a Halloween costume make you look.
I think that's the Mordereth Halloween costume, actually.
Oh, you're right. You're right, Mordereth, not Nazgul. Okay.
Yeah, not Naz. I mean, it does look like a Nazgul costume, but it's actually the Mordereth one. Which I thought was cool.
It is, but you have to be standing with the person when they put it on, or you can't see it.
Right.
But it does make hobbits look epic.
A Mordereth hobbit.
Well, it stretches their size. So your little hobbit is now taller than even high elves, and they glide around frighteningly.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Okay.
Have you seen it, Pine Leaf?
Apparently not.
Okay, I'm going to figure out which of my characters have it the next time we play, and I'm going to put it on so you can see it. I think M has one.
I'm almost positive M's got one, because I'm pretty sure that's who came with Sarissa.
I'm pretty sure that would be who has it. Alright, I've got a plan.
Oh, right. I'm going to be assailed by Mordereth then.
Hey.
Then next we have from the Antipodean Writer, another wallpaper segment for Thorin's song, Break of Day, stanzas 3 and 4. Which means that now we have a new player question. And Cinders, what's your question?
What all do you have to do to become Skirmisher of Middle Earth?
Well, first you have to be a pine leaf.
Then that one of my goals was absolutely unrealistic.
Yeah. Actually, to be Skirmisher of Middle Earth, then what you need to do is on the 18 skirmishes that have solo settings, in other words, the only one excluding from this is Survival Barrel Downs. And the other 18 ones that have encounters in them, is probably a better way of saying that.
Yeah, because Barrel Downs doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't have any encounters. So for those 18 skirmishes, you have to complete all of the encounters during the course of the skirmish. And of course, the run has to be non-gray. In other words, you can't do it 20
Yeah, you only
levels
get
above it.
credit for the skirmish encounters if you do them on level.
No, they could be below level.
You don't get credit for the skirmish deed if you do them below level.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Nope, does not count toward the skirmish deed.
Then that's
The lieutenants do, but the encounters themselves do not.
I will have to go and double check that.
That's why they have to be not gray, because they don't actually count toward the deed if they're gray.
Right. Well, I said they won't count if they're not gray, but that's not necessarily on level. That's why.
Oh, well, they don't have to be like on level, but it has to be not gray.
Yeah, they have to be not gray, and the lieutenants will also have to be not gray. Well, anyway, that's how you become Skirmisher Middle Earth, is you complete all of them. Now, each time you complete one of those skirmishes and get all the encounters for that skirmish, you do get a title for that. So what you're actually getting is, it's a meta deed for completing all of the 18 skirmish encounter deeds.
Okay. Sounds good.
Now, the toughest title probably get related to skirmish is, I think there is a super meta deed for doing a great deal of stuff in survival barrel downs, and there might actually be people out there who have actually achieved this. But that means you have to do many a survival barrel downs raid, and doing it in all sorts of permutations also. In other words, doing it in things like going through the skirmish for 30 minutes without killing any lieutenants.
That's just crazy.
Going through the raid, getting through a raid in 30 minutes with there being at least 9 different classes if it's a raid. And also at Fellowship 1, having 6 different classes at Fellowship and 3 different classes at Small Fellowship.
Okay.
Do
you guys want to help me get that one?
No. You can put that on your list, but no.
Okay. We'll pick it at a time where you're not available, Terry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Because
you can probably find other people crazy enough to help you with it.
Yeah, because finding people to do the raid version, that would be pretty tough. You'll have enough trouble being able to achieve that on the Small Fellowship version of it, which it might be theoretically possible to do that. The tricky thing on those is that surviving 30 minutes in survival barrel downs is a non-trivial task. Let's then head into our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, Terry Adwin finished the new area. Yay! Except for the bonus quests that were added later. And Pine Leaf was nice enough to tell me that they were added later, so I didn't actually have to do them, because she is done helping bears for now. Yeah. So it's pretty rare that the game actually makes me scream in frustration, and everybody on Tuesday heard me screaming in frustration because I was so frustrated at the fact that Radagast sent me back down the hill to come back up the hill, and then you get down the hill, and the bear tells you go back up the hill and come back down. Oh, I was so mad. So mad. I was so ready to be done. And then we got through that instance in, I don't know, like 0.5 seconds or something like that, because the 3 of us went in, and I shing-shinged, and Sans pew-pewed, and Pineleaf did his warden thing, which doesn't get a sound effect because it's not cool enough for that. And then we were done, and then I could go to the Glimmerdeep instance, and Smog's Diary is unlocked. It's so cool. I got the final page for Smog's Diary and immediately went home to put it in my house and called it a night. I'm like, yep, I'm done. So, yes, I'm very excited. The diary is just epic. I had my mom listen to it, like I logged into my character on her computer so that I could pull up the little text that you get with it too.
Right.
And I popped that up and I hit the button and I'm like, okay, so you got to listen to this. And then I just walked away because I didn't want to interrupt her listening to it because it's just that awesome.
Okay.
Sarissa finished Snowborn questing.
Whee!
Yeah. And started the Hootbold rebuild in addition to making her way to Wildemore. So by doing all of the quests that she had done in Western Rohan, I actually was friend with most of the factions. So I started with the Sutcrofts, which I was the lowest reputation with at the time that I started with the Hootbold rebuild. And I'm already kindred as of today with the Sutcrofts. And so like a quarter of Hootbold is already built. Cause then I had like it took me 3 more quests today in Sutcrofts to get kindred, cause I'm getting the rep boost thingies from the skirmish camp right outside the gate of Snowborn. So that the rep doesn't take as long to get built up. So then I went over to, Harwick and did 2 quests for the Wold and got ally with the Wold. So I got a bunch more stuff. So yeah, it's probably a little over a quarter of the town rebuilt already. And that was awesome. And so in addition to this, I had a day off this week, and it was a day that I was watching my niece and nephew, and he's 9 months, so he's super easy to watch. She's 7. She's a little more difficult. So she was watching me play. I was letting her watching me play my burglar, and she thought that was really cool. And then she's reading my text out loud. The quest text, because she's 7 and she reads really well. So I made her own character on my account. So Butterfly the Bjorning, OP Furball, the agreement is she has to read the quest text out loud while she's playing the character. But she thinks it's the best thing ever to be able to turn into a bear. Of course, then she wanted to know which button turned her invisible, because, she'd been watching me play the burglar. I'm like, no, sweetie, you can either turn into a bear or you can be invisible. You cannot do both things. They're not quite that overpowered.
Thank goodness, yes.
But yeah, so Butterfly finished the starter instance. She wanted the name Butterfly, and I was pretty sure that the actual name Butterfly was taken, so I just took Butterfly and put an E on the end, and she goes, it's not spelled right. I said, it's an Old English spelling. She doesn't know the difference. She's 7. So Sanders, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. It was certainly an improvement. I can control a mouse. So the most recent and most exciting thing I've done was I ran the Rift for the very first time yesterday. We streamed it on the Signamu channel with 7 other people, including Pineleaf and Terry and Sans. We had a couple people from Girls, we had a couple people from Academy, and then, of course, Terry and Pineleaf and Sans. So that was a lot of fun. And we completed it in an hour and a half. And it went really, really smoothly, even though we didn't have a full raid. We used a variety of levels, a variety of classes, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to doing another thing on the Cinders bucket list. That is an actual thing. Terry joked about making a list, and I made an actual list. I also, with the help of Terry and Pineleaf and Sans, opened the resource instances on my main character on Landerval, Cinderina, and did one of them with Pineleaf to open them. And that was fun. We were able to take out the Scourge. And then I had some assistance power leveling Emerlina with the girls on Sunday. She is now at 102, but we got her up to, I think, 100 that day. We got like 6 levels in the 2 hours that we were playing. It actually might have been an hour and a half that we ended up playing. And so that was fun. And I'm really looking forward to getting her geared and ready to go. So how was your day or week, Pineleaf?
We'll begin with the Friday night fight, where I was leading the high-end group. We had 6 characters in there. And I asked, does anybody want to do anything in particular? And someone says, how about doing something exotic?
So Pine Leaf led some skirmishes.
Well, yes, but
I don't know that counts as exotic, though, Pine Leaf.
Survival Barrel Downs, I think, counts as exotic.
Yeah, okay.
Survival Barrel Downs, which is something that I know a lot of people don't do all that often for reasons we discussed earlier. And we lasted 20 minutes, I believe, which isn't too bad.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, because now, in order to get all 6 of the dailies and to get and to complete deeds, you need to finish 13 minutes. In order to be considered to have actually finished the skirmish, you need to survive an hour, but that's a bit much. But 30 minutes is where the cutoff is for all the deeds. Therefore, that's the main one you really want to worry about, is seeing if you can last for 30. And as you can see, it's non-trivial. We only lasted 20 there. Then after that, I was thinking, all right, what could be the next skirmish? And of course, I just remembered, we just did the Rift today. So let's try Rescue at Nurse Goshu, which, solo is not very exotic. Doing it with 6 and with the survival rate of our friend the Ranger, it would certainly present its own little challenges. In fact, I'm not 100% sure if I ever finished it with 6 before. So we got into there. I did tone down, I did play it, we had someone at, I think at 112, so I decided to run it at 112 because running it with a lot of running it higher than that would create some problems in there, I thought. And besides, it's a tough enough skirmish as it is and keep in the boss fight. So what we did is we took a 113 Guardian who was in the group, and we asked her, all right, get a weak weapon as you want, and your responsibility is to create our fellowship maneuvers during the boss fight. So that's what we did. So the Guardian started all the fellowship maneuvers, then we got there, and we managed to actually finish the skirmish. Now, we did fail this. Now, I was actually a little bit surprised that we got credit for finishing it, because the second fellowship maneuver failed. And I had thought that after that something was going to kill Goliath there, but he managed to survive the thing, and we finished the skirmish. Then after that, I decided what could I do in order to help make our 113 Guardian a little bit more useful? And then what I did is I decided to run Protectors of Thongalhat and have the Guardian run the Ballisti during the run of it. And apparently she had never actually had bothered with those things before in all the time she's run the skirmish before.
Not everybody does, Pine Leaf.
Yeah, I know, not everybody does.
Which one is Protectors of Thinglehan?
It's one of the Mirkwood skirmishes.
Okay.
Is
that the one where the Ballistae are up on the walls and somebody's up top and then they can shoot stuff down below?
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
I've done that one.
Yeah. So I think this is the first time I've ever done it, and I wasn't the one firing. So it was interesting seeing it from down outside the wall instead of up on top. And then on Honor, my warden headed into actually that wasn't Southern Barrow Downs, that was the Northern Barrow Downs where I went. So I went to the Northern Barrow Downs and did the quests there, and I made several visits into the various tombs into there, killing, obviously, spiders and whites and all that fun stuff. I also visited several of the festival sites, went all around there, and I managed to collect all of the dances that are currently available on the server, because as far as I can tell, until they add Enid White, we're not going to get we're not going to be able to get Man 3, is it called, or something like that?
Yeah, it's Man 3.
Right. Man 3 that won't be available until we get Enid White, and then there is
Hobbit Dance 4, which you get in the spring.
Yeah, that's right. Hobbit Dance 4, which is in the Spring Festival. So it will be available in the spring there. Therefore, my goal then is to get each of those when they come out. But I have managed to get all the ones that you get now, including the Jig, which meant that I also did a lot of quests for the In League in order to get that stuff done. And that is the first character, and this is my first character that ever even bothered with the In League. So obviously it's first time. Actually, it's possible that I might have another character that might have purchased the Jig. I'm not too sure on that, because I think that's also available in the store.
It is.
Yeah. But this is the first one to actually earn it in game. Then on my burglar, I headed into the Great River and managed to help Bingo with getting some ink and following a tragic hamster story. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Tragic hamster.
Stupid human!
Spoilers!
All right.
I'm kidding. You guys can tell all about it. I'll figure it out when I get there. Because I'm sure I'll forget between now and then.
Yeah, probably. Let's then head into our news beyond LOTRO, where the Breland Region Guide is coming to Adventures in Middle-earth, the role-playing game.
Yay!
And this is, of course, describing all the things in Breland, Camp Bree, and the satellite villages that are near it. And a complete set of customized journey tables for Breland. I know that'll make Drek really happy. Maps of Breland, Bree, and of course, the Prancing Pony. We can see how they envision the Prancing Pony being like. And of course, some adventures in there that Drek may someday bring us through.
We gotta live through Mirkwood first.
Yes. And there's a new playable culture, the Dwarves of the Blue Mountains. I'm going to say, why introduce the Dwarves of the Blue Mountains in a Bree package?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna have dwarves in Breland, those would probably be the dwarves that would be in Breland.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there, because they do travel through there as merchants and stuff like that. Alright, I guess that's a reasonable case there. And the MSRP is $34.99. And that, of course, is the physical copy can be pre-ordered as due out in early 2019, whatever early 2019 is. And there is a PDF that will be available later this month. We currently have 21 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on a podcast of your choice, or you may guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And we actually have an email this week.
Yes, we do.
Does that mean you're volunteering to read it?
Sure. Fielder Duddy writes, "Hello to Pineleaf and the Angels. Been enjoying LPN for a while now. Keep up the great work. The new player question this week as last week regarding the Traveler boost skills was a great one. I've never picked them up and have been kicking myself for not doing so years ago. The reason for this self-kicking lies in the missed opportunity to snatch them all up in a package that was offered before free-to-play was around. Pineleaf will correct me if I'm wrong. I know you will, Pine. But there was at one time a bundle purchasable through the LOTRO store for several thousand points that included all 3 travel skill cooldown boosts, along with 3 additional milestone skills. Not only that, there was a account-wide version for additional points. Like I said, still kicking myself. Take care, players. Fielder Duddy of Crick Hollow." That sounds awesome. And if they bring it back, I know they can probably get it sold because there's plenty of people I know who would buy it.
I'd buy the account-wide version for sure.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that such a thing ever existed.
Well, you play Warden, so you don't need those travel skills anyway.
I guess you got a point there. If you'd like to email us, you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineath at Pineath Fields, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, and Cinders at Emeraldina. The Players Alliance has 2 live shows on Thursdays, usually at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays, 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our live shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that is all for this night. And this is Planet Mules reminding you to skirmish responsibly.